Welcome
to the Joy of Code.
Hello and welcome to what is this? Episode 443 of the Joy of Coding. We're back. We made it. Woo! So glad to have you here. Gonna be live hacking on some Firefox stuff today. Hopefully able to do so without being interrupted. Last time got interrupted by an incident that, the last stream got cut off short because of an incident that I got roped into right at the end that I didn't really want to be streaming on while I dealt with it. And then after that, there was like a Canadian holiday with Canada Day, and then there was like some other thing that prevented me last week from streaming. All kinds of things have been getting in the way, but that's just what happens. The joy of coding. No plan survives breakfast. You think you know what's going to happen, and then the world surprises you. So yes, I am back. It's so good to have you here. Let's start by sharing my screen. It's July 15th, 2026. The last time I streamed was June 24th. And before that, it was like a pretty big gap. From June 17th to 24th, there was a consistent spacing. But then there was this big gap between May 13th and June 17th. So 2 big gaps, and I apologize for that. If there was a truancy officer, I'd probably be getting a rap on the knuckles or something. I'm going to try and be a little more consistent, but stuff gets in the way sometimes, and you just deal with it as it comes. That's kind of the idea. Again, no plan survives breakfast. I'm going to be live hacking on Firefox, and who knows what's going to happen. I might get roped into another incident today, or we might be sidelined or distracted by something. We're just going to deal with it as it comes. That's the first thing. The second thing is that this agenda that we're looking at is available to you. Depending on where you're watching the stream, it's going to be in a different spot. If you're watching this on Twitch, then there's a link to the agenda down in the channel details. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's down in the video description. If you're watching this on Airmozilla, it's over in the details section, over on that direction. And as I update the agenda, maybe I add a couple of links or whatnot, this little spinny will spin, and if you reload the agenda, you should have the latest and greatest. And I haven't mentioned this in a while. We're the back channel. If you are wanting to chat with me while I stream, or maybe even after I stream, there is a Matrix channel on the Mozilla Matrix instance. That channel is bridged to the Twitch chat, so I can kind of like see conversation in the Twitch chat as well as on Matrix. But there is a live hacking room. It's like hash live hacking. I think this is linking directly to that room here. Yeah. So if you have a Matrix account, can connect to Matrix with a Matrix client or using Element Web or what have you, this is how to get to the room, and you're welcome to join. There's a bunch of people. There's 210 people in the room. Mostly it's quiet except for when I stream. Every now and then a spammer from Twitch shows up and someone does a really good job and kicks them, so thank you for whoever. I think it's usually Smurf D or Danny Colon or someone great does that work. But it's a come join us there. Danny Colon says, plot twist, Mike's trying to make sure the 500th episode happens on New Year. Wouldn't that be amazing? I don't know if let's do the math. How many weeks between July 15th and New Year's? Let's look at 2026 calendars. Let's just do some quick math here. Let's assume this is trustworthy. It's July 15th, so we are here. Let's say I stream every week on Wednesday consistently until the end of the year. It's 443, so 444, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. I don't think so. 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67. And I'm probably going to take some time off in December. There's no way. It's going to be 500 is going to be in the in 2027 for sure, probably in like Q1 or Q2. Sorry, that's January, February, March, April, May, or June for non-corp speak. That'd be my guess. So yeah, episode 500. It's still a ways away. 450 is coming up. 450 is definitely going to happen this year. So if maybe you want to do something fun for 450, let me know. It's the bicentennial, I think is what you call that. So let me know if you want to maybe have us do something fun on 450. Send me a message. You can give me your feedback. Oh, 444 is next week. That's true. That's true. It's been a long time since we've had all three digits match. It would have been 333, and that was back in 2023. So, if you've got a fun idea for 444, let me know. We'll do something fun. Let me know and rate this episode. Okay, so I'm back. Been turbulent. Let's get moving. Let's hack on some stuff. Enough yapping. So last couple of weeks we've been working on. Oh, I can give an update on this. Last episode we worked a little bit on the Sequoia Sequoia and Up macOS migration pathway bug, which was less of an actual bug and more of our instructions for importing from macOS are out of date since 2024 basically, and because there's kind of a manual step for importing passwords from macOS, and since Sequoia they've changed the pathway. So the patch for that has it went through a couple of rounds of review. It's mostly stayed the same since we worked on it on the stream, but it's still waiting on review from one other person. I'm expecting a review shortly for that, and that should land this week if all goes well. And that means it should be in what's nightly right now. Firefox nightly is 154, which according to the release calendar, 154 will go out to release on August 18th. So just over a month from now, it will hit the release channel if all goes well. So there you go. This is the bug. If you're curious, I want to know what I was working on during when I had to bail out of the stream. It was this one. It was like a hang that some people were experiencing, and extreme memory usage. Basically, the long story short on this one was on specific configurations of Firefox. I actually learned some interesting stuff that I didn't know. I feel like I should know, but I didn't know. Two things I learned. One, when we distribute Firefox from Mozilla.org, we create all of these different builds that are for different locales. So you've got an English build, you've got an English Canada build, you've got a French build, you've got an Italian build, and these have their default language set to the locale that they're for. Makes sense. We do not provide all of those builds through other channels like the Windows Store. The Microsoft Store on Windows, we offer just a single Firefox. And the same goes for when we create flat packs or snaps that go to the Canonical Store or whatever you call the flat pack store things on. So the Linux distributions, whenever they're distributing Firefox through their stores, they just get a single binary from us. Or maybe they build, I don't know who builds the flat packs and the snaps. I thought we were building them. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But it's just ultimately a single executable. It's not one per locale. And then what happens is during onboarding with those particular versions of the browser, we offer the ability to get download the other language packs during onboarding, so that you get to single binary, but you choose what language you want to be in on startup. Now we might do something smart where we query the operating system for what the locale is and try and set that. But I believe we bundle a lot of language packs, either by default or instead of forcing the user to download them during the selection. And that is the configuration that was mostly bogged down by this, where basically, and I'm responsible for the bug as well. We were fixing a different localization bug and doing an action whenever we noticed that the set of installed locales had changed. And what I did not realize is that it was possible to enter this just degenerate case if you have many, many language packs installed. It's basically like a O of n squared kind of combinatorial explosion in terms of observer, and then while the observer is running, you may re-enter that observer, which causes you to then re-enter that observer, and that the sort of the recursive nature of it is scaled, I think n squared, where n is the number of language packs installed, and in certain situations that can cause extreme slowdowns. That occurs during startup. That can cause extreme slowdowns in memory usage, And that is what we were trying to fix. So basically, the solution to this was to add a reentrancy guard. And so you can see like, whoa, this is when things got real bad, and then we fixed it, and now the crashes have subsided since the crashes and the freezes and the hangs and whatnot. So it was a little bit of touch and go. There was a big analysis done, and I have on the side been trying to figure out how best to write a regression test for this exact thing, because it was like somehow this got through QA, somehow it got through CI, and it's because there are certain configurations that users on the release channel can enter into that are never tested for in CI, like a certain overlapping conditions. And I won't go into too much detail about that, but like the M6 or the many language packs case is one of them, and new tab having been updated with a train hop is another one. Like we have tests for both of those individual things. We do not have overlapping tests that run on startup. 152 has been rocky, says Smurfy. I think we are on .6 now. Well, we're also doing planned dot releases every week. So there was, I think, at least one unplanned dot release. But let's see here. I think this was an unplanned dot release. It was 15201. This one may have been planned. This one also looks like it was unplanned, desktop only, and then planned. So there were two unplanned dot releases, and yeah, it's been a little rocky. Some people may have heard that we are switching to a 2-week release cycle, and that's going to be very interesting over the next couple of weeks and months while we transition from a 4-week release cycle where you have 4 weeks on nightly and then 4 weeks on beta and then 4 weeks on release, to a 2-week release cycle. So you can start to see that is being represented and reflected now in the whattrainIsItNow.com calendar, where on July 20th 154 becomes that's the merge. So in 5 days we merge and 155 becomes nightly. And then there will be 4 weeks of beta of 154. And 155, however, starts on July 20th, but the merge day is on August 13th. Hang on a second. Maybe it's 155 that's the interesting one on beta. So 154 and 155 both have their 4 weeks, but 154 has 4 weeks on beta. 155 has 4 weeks on nightly, but 155 only gets 2 weeks on beta. That's the interesting one. Where, is that true? Am I right on that? Is the calendar changed? Beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, beta 4 release. So release candidate goes out on August 27th. Release day is September 1st. Yeah, and then 156, the nightly, will be August 13th, and merge day will be August 27th. So suddenly 156 will be the first nightly that is only 2 weeks long. And Smurfy asks, okay, 2 weeks, what is the reason? Smaller updates per release? Yeah, basically. This isn't going to make engineering go any faster. This doesn't make it so that features get built any faster. What it does is reduce the latency from the work being completed, say on release or on nightly, and making it to the release channel. So like the Mac OS thing that I'm fixing over here, or that I linked to here, right now when it lands, it's going to show up. If it lands in this cycle, it'll take 4 weeks roughly for it to make to the release channel, and in the future, where that to be the sort of bug that gets fixed late in the nightly cycle, that window of time shrinks from 4 weeks to 2 weeks. And so the amount of time between something being like engineering complete on nightly to out to the release channel shrinks from a range of 4 to 8 weeks to 2 to 4 weeks. So we cut it in half. And so one would also expect there will also be like smaller sets of updates per update, per major release is the it's going to be smaller bytes. And there's still going to be weekly dot releases, but we expect that the number of dot releases will also decrease because you'll have the major releases occurring as well. So that's the story. If you want to hear more, there's a dev platform post, the mailing list, dev platform. Where is that? Conversations, release cadence. You can read this message from Sylvester talking about the timeline and that we're going to be monitoring it. Like, if this doesn't work out, then we may have to make some adjustments. Maybe instead of 2 weeks, we go back to 4. Maybe we go to 3 weeks. I don't know. And in particular, it doesn't mean that work needs to ship twice as fast. Work that is not ready should not be rushed. Features still take the time they need to bake. So only turn them on when they're ready. And then the distance between ready on nightly and to release shrinks by half. So there's that. Now, I've got a local build. Let's enough talking. Let's look at some code. Last time we were, alongside working on this password thing, we were also planning out our center cropping stuff for Moz Label, and I don't actually remember where we got to. I think we were planning on how we would expose it to the Moz Label element. And I seem to recall there being... I think I had some kind of plan. And I can't remember where we got to. Let's take a quick look at the patch itself and see what it's doing. So right now, I think it's demonstrating it with a label element with crop equals center. And then it was a very short patch, very, very short patch, it looks like. And if system principal, we can use the Zool label description data to figure out the cropping. So let's make sure that all still works. It's been a little while since we've run this stuff. If anyone has any questions about the release cycle or anything that's been going on lately, feel free to drop them in the chat. I don't know if I'll have answers, but I can try. Sidebar. Browser download sidebar enabled. We're going to enable that, and then we're going to turn on the sidebar. We're going to turn on downloads. Here's the download sidebar. This is a long label. What are you going to do? So it's not doing the cropping right now. And now why is that? I think there was something we were missing, that you also have to supply max width. And that's not... Oh, hang on. And then I'm going to take that out. No? If I can't... Where... We had this working. Crop is center. Oh boy. Did we have this working in other contexts? Like, did we have it working here in new tab? Or about, let's go to about robots. Let L equals document create element label L dot set attribute value. This is a test string that is very long and hopefully will get cropped. L dot set attribute crop center, and then document dot body append child L. And there's nothing there. Label here. Why aren't you there? Min width 50 pixels, max width 150 pixels. Display block? I don't know. It's a flex item. that is not showing up. It's got its min width, min height, 1ch. It's not actually showing anything. Is it because... Why isn't this working? Test. This is a very long string. Will it get cropped? Okay, now if I max width, no. We had this working. Smurfy asks, one last question. How long has it been 1 week dot releases? I think that's been a couple months. Let's take a look through the... Let's look through the calendar. 152. 149. 150. This was every week. So at least 150. I think it was 150 may have been the start. That will be my guess. 150 was when we started doing weekly dot releases. Scheduled dot releases. And 152 is a little bumpy. So what's going on? Well, I thought we had this working. We got to figure out what's going wrong here. Let's pull up. Here, let me create a new window. I've got this workspace. Ugh. Okay, let me close all. Let's clear everything. Let's clear the decks. Don't need any of these things. Don't need, no. Okay, we're starting from scratch. And we're gonna look at, what was it? The file. Frame constructor. If you are not the system principal, bail out. I have that logic right? Let me... Principal. Get the elements principal. If the principal is not the system principal, don't do anything. That seems right to me. Okay. Let's attach our debugger to the parent process. See if we can get a sense of what's happening. 7759 is the process ID. Is that right? Yes. Attach. Okay, so we are attaching. And I'm going to set a breakpoint, I think. Where was the name of this file? CSS frame constructor. Let's open that up. And then line 4048. Let us set a breakpoint at line 4053 to see if we even enter here. 4053. B NSCSS frame constructor dot CPP 4053, right? 4053. Okay, continue, and then let us manipulate this thing. So I'm going to get rid of the text content. If I hit the, I have hit the breakpoint. Let's get back to basics here. I'm gonna change the text content. I'm gonna say text content. Inner HTML is nothing. So wait, this thing, it looks like it has a child node. Child nodes? No, it doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to change the value. Set attribute value. Hey, this is a long label. What is up, dog? Can you center crop me? Oh, I was in the, okay. Inner text content. Child nodes. Yeah, there's a text node. Okay, so remove text content. Okay. Set attribute value. This is a very long string that I hope gets cropped. Dog. Oh, and then set attribute crop center. Now, because it has no, it's not being laid out. Why isn't it being laid out? Like, does it actually need to have its text content set? Text content equals T. And we still are not entering here. Let's add another breakpoint. Let's add a breakpoint at line, let's just at the top of the function. It's not happening. How about if I re-add it to the DOM? Remove document. Do I have it as set as L? Okay, document dot body append child L. There we go. Okay. So we're getting all this information. Is it the system principal? And then we bail out. Let's do that again. What happened just now? Does this document have the system principal? Maybe that's important. Maybe about robots isn't privileged. Gbrowser selected browser content principal. Principal is system principal. False. Oh, that's why. Okay, so let's continue. Break disable 1. Okay, continue. Let us go to a different page. Break disable 2. Continue. Let's go to a privileged page. About preferences should have that should be privileged. Selected browser content principal is system principal. True. Okay. So let us create a label. What? Redeclaration of let L. Let my label. What's happening here? All right, reload. I'm not liking this. Not liking what's happening here. Let's open up settings, a new tab instead of reloading. Open up. There we go. Okay. My label set attribute value. This is a very long string that I expect to get center cropped. My label set attribute crop center document.body append child my label. Then I'm going to enable, break enable to, okay. Is it the system principal? Yes. Do we have value? Yes. So we continue. Let us find this break disable to. Let's find our little label here. It's not been center cropped, but maybe that's because I haven't set the max width of 150. Still, oh, you know what? Text wrapping, text wrap, no wrap. That's what we were missing. Text wrap, no wrap. So I had forgotten about that. Text wrap, no wrap. So I believe that's what's missing from here. Text wrap, no wrap. Bingo. Okay. So it is working under these conditions if you have text wrap, no wrap, and center cropping set. Whew. That's a relief. So now what we need to do, what I'm hoping we can do, is make it so that people who are using this mechanism don't have to remember those things, don't have to remember those styles. So we're going to be wrapping a label element in Moz label, and I think we can make Moz label kind of be our syntactic sugar. Just 1 second here. So let me see. I think I'm looking for a plan. I think I'm looking through some notes here. Okay, so I think here's what we wanted to do. Is it Moz label? Okay, let's write this down. I think I wanted to have a web IDL that is Chrome only, exposed, that allows a caller to enable center cropping behavior. And then in an CSS frame constructor, I wanted to check for that usage rather than merely checking the system principal. And then in Moz label, add a new observed attribute called, I'm only gonna do like special cropping, special center cropping. I'm not gonna do end of line. Like you can do end and start just with CSS. It's center cropping that's special. Enable center crop. That will, if set to true, call the web IDL function to set the state of center cropping behavior. Will also ensure that the value attribute is set and the text content is cleared out, or will warn if there are child elements, and bail out, because you can't do that with Zool center cropping. And so then have CSS applied automatically with enable center crop that sets text wrap, no wrap. think that'll do it. And let's see. I'm basing this off of a discussion I was having with the DOM team. I think this was the plan. So this is going to be a state that exists on label elements. So where is label element? The label element. HTML label element. So we're going to put some kind of center cropping state flag on here. Ooh, there's already an XPCOM interface. Oh no, that is old school. That is not true anymore. That's from 2013. But we will expose something on the binding. So there is a HTML label element.webidl. Right. And so we can put something on here that's just like Chrome only. And let's look at for some examples of that. DOM WebIDL Chrome only. Like there's tons of these. Like on Canvas element, there's an interface. On image element, certain things. Select element, HTML. So partial interface. This is the select element and then partial interface, the Chrome only interface. So I like this. You can kind of split it out, the Chrome only stuff. So that's what I think I'm going to do. And then there's going to be an attribute that's like Boolean enable center crop. So let's start there. Let's get going. And then we can do this properly. Element. And we're going to get rid of this check. And instead, we will do the... we'll take a look at the element and we'll see if it's an HTML label element with that state value set. And if so, we will allow it through. Or it's a Zool label, and we will allow it through. Label. Surely there's a way of interrogating the type. And so we can do that here. Okay. All right, let's start with our interface. HTML label element.webidl. We're going to create a partial interface. Well, I like this way of doing it. Let's do it that way. Partial interface HTML label element. And we're going to say Chrome only, and it's like this. Chrome only attribute Boolean, and then we'll call it, what did I say in my notes? I didn't really say, but center crop enabled, maybe. Center crop enabled. Okay. Now, if I do that, let's shut all this down and we can build this out. I don't think it's going to build. I think it's going to be upset because I'm going to have to add something to the implementation of HTML label element. There's, where is it? HTML label element. Like binary name form for bindings. Constructor form for bindings. Control for bindings. Control. So there's like a get control for bindings, and whenever you do a partial, like open in parent process on select element, HTML select element dot h, open in parent. So there's a open and set, return M, and then there's a set. There's no get, there's a set. Open select element web IDL. So I have that up. Open in parent process. So it doesn't say get, it just says, yeah, open in parent process, and then there's a set. Okay. And then there's the member itself, which is a Boolean, which is defined here. True if we open in the parent process. Okay, so we're gonna copy that. We're gonna put that, copy that. We're gonna put that under, where is it, protected? Under protected, makes sense. Bool handling event, bool M center cropping enabled. Now what is this? 1 equals false? What is this format? Why is it like that? Let's look and see if there's just like a DOM HTML H bool M. So this, some of these just like equals false under public. Select does this 1 equals false thing under protected. So let's just do equals false. I don't know why we're doing this special dance. Maybe my reviewer can let us know. And then we're gonna put in we're going to put in these. So this is under public, I presume. It's got to be public. Yeah, under public. We'll say center cropping enabled, and we'll return that. And set center cropping enabled. Set states element state. Is there a way that you can get it to sort of like redraw? Set states element state. Add states for an element state. Element state is active, focus disabled, invalid, broken. I don't think we need to set a state. I think what we need to do is to indicate that like we need to redraw. Paint layout, flush layout. Flush layout, scroll frame. Flush pending notification, get primary frame. Needs flush. Maybe we need to say that we need to flush. Needs flush. On FM. FM is the focus manager. We're doing a thing that's going to change its size. Surely there are other things that whenever you change its state. I mean, maybe it will just kind of happen naturally, but I feel like there needs to be a signal that tells the layout engine, "Hey, we've changed this thing. You need to recompute it." Um, set dirty. Set dirty. What does that do? On a content list, it's the state to list dirty clears M elements array. Maybe that's the term I should be looking for, is dirty. Text area element. Text area element. Does this have any notion of dirty? No. Get selection direction. State. Set range. Props. Get value. Destroy. Traverse. Unlink. What was that thing I was just looking at? Text area element is handling selected, is preview enabled, disabled, changed. M disabled, changed. Get primary. If there's no state, get primary pres state. If there's state, would you want to say the real state with the disabled attribute? Before set attribute. Maybe I need to be looking at more DOM, WebIDL, Chrome only. Let's say on like something that would change the layout of a thing. So let's look for something simple. BR element is padding for empty editor. Set to truth. BR is create editor. Everybody's care. Proper position in empty editor is padding for empty last line. Maybe. Let's look for something simpler. Style element. No, not the style element. Go to image document. Mouse event. Node. No, I'm looking for elements here. Change the context. That seems too heavy. Image element. Chrome only. Current URI, remove request type. Force reload. Maybe. Input element. Here. Set the preview value on an input element. That would cause let's look at HTML input element. And let's look at preview value. What? HTML input element. Preview value. Is that's a partial interface on the input element. Preview. What in tarnation? All right, let's look for a different one. Autofill state. DOM, HTML, autofill state. Set autofill state. Okay. Set form autofill state. And then adds a state to it. See, I don't want that. I want that. I want... reveal password. That's going to cause a redraw. Set reveal password. There's a state again. Revealed. Set states revealed. So there's potentially notifying. These will handle setting up. Notify state change. My state changed. Element state changed. States. And that would probably cause a redraw. And that might cause... All right. Well, let's just get a building first. No member named center crop enabled in HTML label element in line 207. Oh, in the bindings. Bindings. Center crop enabled. Oh, I don't think I hit save. Let's try now. There's really nothing for like layout changed. Element state. Here. Focus hover disabled checked. Still not happy. No member name center crop enabled. And no member name set center crop enabled. Oh, center cropping enabled. So that's my problem. It should be center crop enabled, not cropping. Center crop enabled. Set center crop enabled. Center crop enabled. Crop enabled. Try that on for size. Anything in the chat? Oh, wow. There's a bunch in the chat. You probably already heard of it, but containers are finally going to be enabled on release. Yes, that's true. That's very exciting. As of very recently, containers are finally going out. I think we are, at this point, ready to commit. Ready to commit. So we have an element, an HTML label element, which is a generic HTML element. And then here, we're going to want to like see what kind of element we're dealing with. Surely there's examples of that sort of thing. Get property nonce. Get property. If the element does not have an attribute named nonce, return not nonceable. If the element is a script element, that's what we want. So we try and query interface it. Interesting. Oh, here we go. So we'll try and like cast it from a node, which is iContent. Do we have anything that's like from from node a element. That's what we'll do. An a element is an element pointer. So I think what we might be able to do is go if we'll say label. Oh, this is maybe even better. If HTML label element label equals HTML label element from node a element. Well, hold on a second. If label and not label center crop enabled, return null pointer. And not label center crop enabled. So I got a feeling we need to bring in the label element. Maybe. Yeah. Mozilla DOM HTML label element. Let's see if that'll build. No. Cannot initialize variable of type HTML label element with an R value of const. Okay, so const. Also, do I have to... Where's the name spacing on this? Using namespace Mozilla DOM. Do I already have that? Yeah, okay, so we're good. Let's see if const is enough to make it happy. That list of includes, lol. Yes, agreed. Ingreed. So I got past browser app Firefox. We're doing toolkit library now. Toolkit library Zool. I think that'll compile. Okay. So now we have the ability to control this with a privileged attribute. Let us now reproduce and make sure that that works. Or let's run manually. Let's see if that works. Load into memory. Let's go. Load into memory. Load into memory. Load into memory. What you taking so long for? Load into memory. I don't know what the dealio is. Okay, so nothing showing up here. I think it's because I also have to call into that thing. So center cropping enabled, true. Okay, and now what if I change the attribute? and put a max width of 150 pixels and text wrap, no wrap, and then set the text content to something. Very long string. What is going on here? Are you gonna center crop? No. Center crop enabled. It's true, but it's not doing it. Element. If you don't have attribute value, you do have attribute value. Center crop, crop, center. Case matters. Okay. So what part of this are we failing? Text content equals null. Okay, so I'm gonna once again services app info process ID. We're gonna quickly attach 40132. Attach 40132. Okay. Break enable 2 and center crop enable is true. We're gonna set text content to empty. Still not hitting our breakpoint, eh? What the heck? What did I forget? Still not hitting our breakpoint, eh? Should I break enable 1 as well? Process am I in? Parent process. I remove you from the DOM and re-add you to the DOM. Document body append child L. Okay. Where did I put it just now? It's at the bottom. And now it's center cropped. So it's like it needs to happen. It's precisely what I was kind of worried about, which is that we need to somehow update the engine to let it know that we flipped that dealio. Detach. How do I alert the engine? Also, hang on, let's look at Moz label.mjs. What do you put as your subchild? Extends label. Yeah, we need to like alert the rest of the tree that we updated. DOM, WebIDL, Chrome only. We're looking for elements. Let's just look at raw element for a second here. Check visibility. Okay. Chrome only. Moz scroll snap. Perform scroll snapping. Read only. I want a non-read only. Set attribute dev tools, set read only. Client height double. Set capture always. Flash. BR element. Let's look at these then. Is padding for empty editor? Oh, that's a read. That is not what I want. Okay, back it up, back it up, back it up. Canvas element. Done. Context. When rendering is done. On for canvas print state. Okay, let's see. Canvas element. Done. Notify done. There's a callback. You run an event. A done event. Okay, how about this dirty business? Dirty. I'd seen that term being thrown around. Note dirty element. Hello. Note dirty subtree for servo. Do we have any like note dirty element? Elements set dirty. Can I set dirty on myself? Set dirty. On a content list, a display list, on a frame, on the renderer, invalidate canvas data, so we get our renderer and we say set dirty. So CSS frame constructor, pull one frame, set dirty, next line, set dirty. Note dirty for servo on element. Is that, could we use that? Element has dirty descendants. Note dirty subtree. Note dirty element. Notes that a given element is dirty with respect to the given descendants bit, which may be one of dirty descendants. Dirty animations that need frame construction for descendants. The function operates on the dirty element itself, despite the fact that the bits are generally used to describe descendants. This allows for style roots to be scoped as tightly as possible. So how is this used? Note dirty element this. It's only ever called by element, I think. Note dirty element. Oh, no, hold on. And gecko bindings. It's used elsewhere, but it really... Maybe I'll just call note dirty for servo. Let's see what happens if we do that. After we set center cropping, we'll say note dirty for servo. Who does that? Does anyone else do that? Whoop. In CSS frame constructor. Under lazily style new child range. Okay, I don't know if this is the right thing to do, but let's see what happens when we do it. So we're detached. Let's build. And then if this works, the next step is, we've done these two. The next step is to then update Moz label to use this capability. Okay, so run. I don't know why it takes so long to launch right now. What it's doing. What's my computer doing? Oh, OBS bot? What are you doing? CPU. Kernel. OBS bot. I don't know about you doing that. Okay. Label. Long label. So if I go ahead and set max width 150px and then text wrap, no wrap, and then I'm going to say center crop enabled equals true. It doesn't redraw. Why not? If I do now display none and then make it display, then it shows up. So it's working, but I need to like indicate that you need to re-render. A re-render is required when you set that. And then it updates its text content with the value that it computed. Okay, yeah, I don't know how you retrigger a render. Like, Note Dirty for Servo is obviously not doing it. So I need to talk to the layout team, I think, to sort of figure out what one is supposed to do here. But we can sort of like kick it to make it do its thing by display none and then display show. So then if I go ahead and say center cropping enabled equals false, and then display none, display show, then it goes away again, set it to true, display none, display show, then it shows up. Okay, so it's kind of working. It's just now we need it to kind of behave as one would expect. We will use the display none hack for now for our purposes. Let us now look at Moz label. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a observer for certain attributes. Observed attributes, we're going to add one called enable center crop, or center crop enabled. What did we say in our notes? Enable center crop. Okay, and then constructor. If this crop enabled equals false, if this dot get attribute enable center crop has attribute, this dot center crop enabled equals true. So setting text content, we don't want to do that if this dot center crop enabled, this should be a no op. And if center crop enabled, return this.get attribute value. And then if the attribute is changed, if atcher name equals enable center crop, then if not this dot get attribute or has attribute value, this dot set attribute value to this dot text content. This dot text content equals empty. We're going to empty out our text content. And then we are going to, what is the problem here? Agreement type is not assignable to parameter type string trusted type. This text content. And then this dot center crop enabled equals true. So we don't actually need this. We need, I forgot, we can just use this. Center crop enabled. Crop enabled equals true. And then in constructor. Attribute changed. What about attribute removed? What if the attribute goes away? Goes away, attribute changed callback. Is that something from lit? No, we're not using lit here. What in the world? Is that something that we're getting from custom element registry, callbacks attribute change? Oh, I see. Inherited attribute. Return from observed attribute instead of an attribute changed callback. Is this something that we get from, I see, WebIDL, lifecycle callback. So it is part of the web spec. Attribute changed callback. What happens whenever the attribute's removed? What are the attribute changed? Here it is. changed, added, removed, or replaced. Okay. How about what's removed? Let's look at an example of attribute change callback being new value is let's say smart bar input. Is connected and ready. Well, let's just see. Let's see what happens. Let's I'll set a breakpoint in here on removing the attribute and see what we get. But let's do that, and then mozlabel.css. Label host center enable center crop label something like that. I'm gonna say text wrap, no wrap. Okay. I'm almost ready to call it, but we're gonna see whether or not this has any legs. I am curious. What happens what is the value that you get in an attribute change callback if the attribute is being removed for new value and old value? I mean, I know what old value would be. It'd be what it was before, but when it's removed, is it null? Is it undefined? It wouldn't be the empty string. So what is it? We can actually maybe change callback. Attribute changed. Definition. What calls it? Call old value attribute. Callback get call. Old value, new value is going to be a string. It's going to be a string. And there's an execution reason. We shall see. Okay, so we've got our label. I'm going to turn this into a Moz label. And we're going to say enable center crop. It doesn't know what a Moz label is. I think I need to import it. Downloads. Sidebar. Is there a Moz label? .mjs. Import. These are getting automatically put into Zool documents, but like for our normal documents. Sidebar. Sidebar downloads.mjs. Maybe that's where we're going to do import. Moz label. And then here, I'm going to say Moz label. And in fact, let us put this here. And then I'm going to, that's weird formatting, dog. I also have to remember inside of Moz label, if we've enabled center cropping, then this dot set attribute crop center, and that's it. So let us do that. Let's build faster. Let's see what we get, and then I'm going to call it there. I'm going to call it a day at that point, no matter what happens. And then I need to talk to the graphics or layout team about how best to notify if that property changes again. Okay. Now it's showing up. That's good, but it's not cropping. So it's a Moz label. It's got, oh. Why aren't you using the custom element? Oh, do I need to? Because I think I can't just use a Moz label that way. I have to go like label is equals Moz label. That's what I have to do. Okay, so sorry, one more thing. Just one more thing. I can't do it that way. I gotta go label is Moz label. And then I'm gonna do enable center cropping. And again, like I said it before, but I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to mean it this time. If this, no matter what happens now, we're going to see if this works. And I have a conversation to have with the layout team. Run! Run, Luke, run! Alec Guinness! No, it's not a very good Alec Guinness impression, but run, Luke, run! That's not bad, eh? Still not doing it. Label is Moz label. It's not doing the is connected custom center cropping enabled is false, so it's not attaching. Label is Moz label. Now why is that? Do you have in your scope debugger? Let's set the scope. Do you know what a Moz label is? What if we put a Moz label? Let me ask to see whether or not the custom elements registry get Moz label. Have you heard of it? Yes, you've heard of it. You know it. You love it. So why aren't you using it? Is Moz label? What about other places where we use Moz label? Are there any other places where we use Moz label? Test Moz label. Moz label is an extension built on label element, provides access key and click handling logic. what if I create document, create element, Moz label, L dot shadow root, no. Document, body, append, child, L dot shadow root, no. Doesn't know what I'm talking about. Has no concept. L dot remove. What about, we go back to preferences, and in here, document, create element, label, L dot set attribute is Moz label, L dot text content equals this is some very long string. What are you gonna do? Crop it? Document, body, append, child, L. Does it have any notion of a Moz label? It does not. How is any of this, how does Moz label work? Is anything using Moz label? What is going on? Moz label. Please. Please. Moz text label, extends label. All right, I'm gonna have to investigate. I don't know what's going on, but we're gonna have to investigate and see how do you actually use Moz label, because it's not happening. And I don't know why. So, hey, thanks so much for watching The Joy of Coding. This was episode 443. It made a little bit of progress, not a whole lot, but a little bit of progress, and that's how it goes sometimes. Let me know what you thought of the episode. There's a link in the agenda to rate this episode. I'm also going to put a link in the chat. Link to rate this episode form. Let me know what you thought. I read everything that comes in. Let me know what you want to see more of, less of, etc., etc., etc. You can also use that as an opportunity to ask me questions. Maybe you have questions about the 2-week release cycle. I can do my best to try and answer them. I might not have the answers, but I'll do my best to try and answer whatever you ask. And with that, I'll call it. Thanks again, everybody, for watching episode 443. I will see you all hopefully next week. Have yourselves a great week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.